The prosecution tried to connect the dots between Diddy's business and his alleged abuse of Cassie Ventura and another victim. How? By using witnesses to try to link Diddy to firearms, cash, and control. We heard from a male escort who said Diddy controlled everything about the freak-offs with Cassie. And Cassie's mother, she also took the stand, testifying about taking a home equity loan out to wire Diddy $20,000. Now, the last witness on the stand today, he tied Diddy to some pretty serious weapons. Remember that 2024 raid on his home in Miami Beach? The special agent in charge testified that he found parts of AR-15 rifles in Diddy's master bedroom. He says the serial numbers were also scratched off. Police also found items that others previously testified would be present at freak-offs: high heels, sex toys, baby oil, Astroglide, and lingerie. And speaking of those items, tonight we're seeing images from the first time of what investigators found at the New York hotel where Diddy was arrested last year. They seized, perhaps you guessed it, baby oil, lubricant, drugs, and cash. Now that lines up with what Diddy's former assistant testified to today at trial. Now he said he was tasked with stocking Diddy's hotel rooms, but he said he didn't go through the company to get reimbursed for these supplies. Instead, he went to Diddy's security team and claimed that they would pay him back in cash from the rapper's Louis Vuitton bag. He also testified that the bag could hold $10,000 or more in cash, telling the court, I just think because they were items that he didn't want to have a record for. Now, one of today's other witnesses was a male escort known as the Punisher, a nickname he says comes from his basketball playing days. He took part in Diddy's freak-offs with Cassie as well. And he said Diddy would direct all aspects of those encounters. The escort testified, quote, Diddy would at some point come into the room, sit in the distance, give subtle directions to Miss Ventura based on, like I said, angles and lighting, positioning, and sometimes the sexual activity. We also heard from Cassie's mother, who testified about a payment that she wired to Diddy after Cassie told her that he was threatening to release 2 sex tapes. Cassie's mom said Diddy asked her for money around that same time to, quote, recoup money that he had spent on her daughter. The prosecutor asked, quote, why did you go to the bank and take out a $20,000 loan? Cassie's mom said, I was scared for my daughter's safety. She was asked what she needed $20,000 for, and she said to pay Sean Combs. And when she was asked why she needed to pay Sean Combs, she testified because he demanded it. Now, the prosecution made a bombshell reveal over who we can expect to testify this week. They plan to call Scott Mescudi. You know him as Kid Cudi. Remember, Cassie testified that Diddy got irate when he found out she was dating Kid Cudi. The prosecution also plans to call a clinical psychologist as well as a former Diddy employee who quit, apparently, after allegedly witnessing physical abuse. Get right to CNN's Elizabeth Wagmeister, who saw all the testimony in the courtroom today and has been following so closely. The assistant, the former one, David James, took the stand today about an incident that could have actually turned tragic, and it involved a rival of Diddy, Suge Knight. Describe.
Yes, so with putting this witness on the stand, it appears that the prosecutors are really trying to get into this racketeering claim, showing that they allege Diddy was running this criminal enterprise through his businesses. So this former personal assistant, he worked for Diddy from 2007 through 2009. He was hired by Bad Boy, so an employee of that company, of course, the company that Diddy was the head of. Now, this instance that you brought up, he told this story to the jury, which was after a late night recording session in the studio. It was about 3 or 4 a.m. and Diddy said he wanted some late night food from Mel's Diner, a famous place in Los Angeles. So they go to Mel's Diner. It's the assistant and one of Diddy's security personnel who they called D-Rock. They get there and they see Suge Knight. As you said, Suge Knight, of course, is a longtime rival of Diddy. Well, they go back to Diddy's home in the Hollywood Hills. This is when the personal assistant said he actually saw Cassie outside the home fighting with Diddy, arguing, basically pleading for him not to go. But Diddy wanted to go. So according to this former assistant, Diddy said, we're taking this car, drive the car. They get in the car. The assistant says he turns around, looks in the back seat, and Diddy has 3 handguns on his lap. That is what he testified today. They go back to the diner. Suge Knight is no longer there, but he said that Diddy was demanding yelling at him, saying, keep driving around. He wanted to find him. Now, again, nothing happened because he wasn't there, but here's what the assistant said on the stand. Quote, I was really shook up by it. You know, this was the first time being Mr. Combs' assistant that I realized that my life was in danger. He said that right after that, he actually put in his notice at the company.
He stayed for about 6 more months to try to train his replacement, but that was really the end for him of why he wanted to work there. That wasn't the only witness today, though. We actually heard from Cassie Ventura's mom, which the defense didn't want to hear from. And a lot of people thought, I wonder why she's testifying. Would it be gratuitous in some way? Would she move the needle in either direction? But she talked about being scared for her daughter's safety and this $20,000 loan. What happened?
So let me get to that in a second, but first I want to read you an email that was shown to the jury as an exhibit in court. This is an email that Cassie sent to her mother, Ann Capricorn Clark, who was one of Diddy's employees.
Under an alias, right?
Under an alias. And yes, here's what she wrote. The threats that have been made towards me by Sean Puffy Combs are that he is going to release 2 explicit sex tapes of me. One on Christmas Day, maybe before or right after, and another sometime soon after that. He also said that he will be having someone hurt me and Scott Muscuddy, you said, Kid Cudi, physically. He made a point that it wouldn't be by his hands. He actually said he'd be out of the country when it happened. So Cassie's mom testifies on the stand. When she read this email, she was physically ill. And of course she would be. This is her daughter. She's scared for her life. So then she said that Diddy demanded that she pay $20,000, as you said, because he was upset that Cassie was with another man. That would be Kid Cudi. And he said, I spent $20,000 on your daughter, so you better pay it back. Now you have Diddy, who at one point was a billionaire, but at this point at least is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and is allowing the mother of his girlfriend to take out a home equity loan to wire the money. He accepted that money, but then he sent it back. Now, I want to bring up one more exhibit. There are photos of Cassie with bruises on her body that were shown to the jury, and Cassie's mom said she's the one who took those photos of her daughter when she visited home for Christmas.
It's pretty unbelievable to think about the dynamic of Sean Diddy Combs asking someone for $20,000. The intimation, of course, that he returned it later on once Diddy and Cassie were back together in some way. What about Kid Cudi? Are we really going to hear him testify?
We are, according to prosecutors. This was, as you said, the big reveal today. So Kid Cudi could be on the stand as soon as tomorrow, Laura. We may be seeing him tomorrow. If not, they said Thursday, but definitely this week he is expected to testify. Now, what will we hear from him? We're going to hear probably a corroborating account to what Cassie said, which, as I just kind of got into, she was dating Kid Cudi for a brief moment in 2011 when her and Diddy were what she said was on a break, but a rough patch. They were together very briefly, then her and Diddy got back together. But Cassie testified last week that when Diddy found out that she was dating Kid Cudi, he got enraged. He threatened her safety, as we saw in this email, and he even said that he wanted to blow up Kid Cudi's car. Now, Kid Cudi has said around the time that allegation came out, which first was revealed in Cassie's civil suit back in November 2023, Kid Cudi said that is all true. So it'll be pretty amazing to see that moment in court if he confirms in front of the jury that his car was blown up.